Hello everybody, Flash Trasman back again with another episode of Suzerain Wealth of Nations. Well, let's try and remind myself where we got to. Which will be easier said than done. Right, let's have a look. Let's look at the let's look at the journal. We expanded the army, removed magic conscription, agricultural zone in Sana. Okay, made. Okay, got you. Alright. I remember now because this is slow because we gave it to that junior company. So we've got Poster Man. Yep, we read all these last time. Privatisation is a future for Sordland. Disaster. We advocate privatisation of state enterprises. Okay. Radical. Yeah. Okay, so economic report for Vaglan. Suffer from effects of economic recession with unemployment spiking, many small business shutting. The large agriculturers concerned expect to announce a wave of layoffs as sales slow. Oh dear. Let's have a look. Anti-corruption police have completed preliminary investigations into suspected members of the Old Guard, including also Hawker, Helen Garcia, Lilia Scarf and Volkan Kruger. No concrete proof of wrongdoings or have yet been revealed. Okay. Casaro Kibina is preparing a bill aimed to unify Swedish education by making Swedish only language accepted, and we're not in that. Okay. That's just racist nonsense by the far right, that is. Okay, nothing else to suit here. What do they want? Welland operations mixed success is drawing operations against the BFF to a close consensus is that while Welland's army went a long way towards neutralising the British threat, there were many preventable casualties. Not all hideouts have been eradicated. The anti-Smollett sentiment is at an all-time high among remaining insurgents. Okay then, right. What one more, wasn't there? Chief Armed Forces Volkan Krieger reported that Wezek armed forces are moving north towards the town of Vernon on their way. Many bloody villages were assaulted. Initial reports indicated a high death toll. They are approaching close to the border where examiners' movement will be observed closely. Okay. Great. There's Vernon there. Okay. Right, let's get stuck into here. Lobby the Assembly. Administration can start a lobbying effort to sway votes. Chief Strategist Lucian Galassis has prepared a well-planned lobbying effort in the Parliament which would specifically sway on the fence MPs for the upcoming constitution vote. The plan includes lavish parties, gifts and even some political favours. Should we go ahead with the plan? Yeah, let's lobby. Let's just do -1 or -2. -2. Okay. Personal wealth decreased. Continue. Proceed to the next turn. Victim of changes. Oh dear. Okay, let's just wait for this to come through. Right, here we go. Let's have a quick look on everywhere else. Make sure there's nothing to see here. A bit of news. Let's go on the news first. Radical. World ignores British plight. Okay, yep, fine. I can agree with them. Bloody swords have been treated as lesser beings with the law all allowing rampant discrimination of business education institutions. Yeah, we know that's fairly kind of fair comment. Hang on, missed that one there. Hang on. Geopolitics. Vlagish man shot after burning the Agnolian flag. More trouble in Helgeport. Gets more trouble over there, basically. That's not going to end well at all. and is on the BFF mission to recruit militants to fight for the BFF. Okay, let's keep an eye on that. Let us move back over here. Call for Marcel Conronti. What we're doing about this. So my office looking through the agenda for the meeting, upcoming meeting at the Ministry of Economy, when meeting was going to be about the ownership of the Big Four, the four largest companies of Sordland, Heart of Sordland, Burger Steel, and the Swedish State Corp and Nedham Mining Group. Three of these companies were controlled in part or entirely by the state, the others were mostly or completely privatised. I had the power to change that. The phone on, I put the agenda down, pick up the phone. Greetings, Mr. President, my name is Marcel Conronti, CEO of Heart of Sordland Enterprises. Unfortunately, we haven't had the pleasure to chat yet. My attempts to reach you have failed every time. It's as if I was being avoided. Yet here we are talking. Get to the point, what do you want? I think you would know I'm calling because of the upcoming ownership meeting. I can't help but mention your tax hike, Mr. President. The increased taxes have made a substantial dent in the Hoss net profits. This has hit the backbone of the Swedish economy. But I assure you it is nothing we can't endure. That's good. Unfortunately, we had to tighten our belts wherever we could. That way of thinking is correct, but you acted wrongly. This will only serve to damage our economy in the long run. Pause a few seconds. Out of goodwill, I will share a key piece of information. That's very kind of you. The Lothberg Group has contingency plans if you decide to do anything rash that will disrupt their empires. You can't blame them, can you? Imagine someone trying to take your authority and personal welfare without your consent. We only ask a reasonable share, nothing out of the ordinary. That is good to hear. If everyone plays their cards right, it will be fine. Now, let's talk about those cards. Since the start of the campaign, you've wisely committed to a market economy. Judging by that, I'm sure you are looking into privatising some of the companies that are currently state-owned. I therefore believe that privatising Nedham and the SSC will be in both our interests. After all, I'm considering buying stocks in both companies. Privatising both, not too much. We'll see what I can do. Think about it this way: another step forward in strengthening our economy. Please think about it. He cleared his throat. I will be blunt. Mr. Tusk is unfit to be the spokesman for Lothberg Group. His archaic thinking has only preserved the status quo that benefits himself and precious to others. It is high time something changed. Do you have in mind? Who do you have in mind to replace him? Who do you think? Me, of course. Here's what I propose: a win-win situation. If you promise me a majority shares from the privatisation, he would lose considerable power, which means I could take over. If I take over with your help, I will be forever indebted to you and support you in all your goals, and be it re-election or something more. How does that sound? I'll have to think about it. Just think about it, that's all I'm asking. Well then, I've taken enough of your time today. It has been a very productive call. Thank you for your time, Mr. President. Goodbye, Mr. Conronti. Okay. I'll keep an eye on that because we're going to need that later. To do demonstrations against President Rayne, what moaning about? Whatever. I don't believe whatever the radicals is. I'm not inclined to believe it. Suzerain. Border police report crossing of increased number of arrests as blood Rosic citizens attempt to enter the country from Welland without legal documents. Accepted evidence, sure. Okay, right, great. So basically we've let skilled workers be dead if they're criminals or not. Fantastic. Anything see up there? Nope. Okay, let's go there then. In this week, General Staff held a meeting in which ISF Lancier had voiced his pleasure to work under the administration country. Ms. Lancier said the current president is a man of the tradition. He's strong and he's decisive. I worked with President Sol before. I knew President Sol. He's my friend. I know that he is proud of what the President Anton has achieved. Ooh, that's interesting. Lucian has scheduled some time with me to discuss potential political repercussions of the upcoming economy meeting. He arrived on time as usual and took his seat right across from me. "Good morning, Mr. President." Leeson had the dark circles below his eyes. The plethora of political developments must have been weighing even on a workaholic like him. "You look a bit tired." "I am trying to, sir." Are you getting enough sleep?" "Don't push yourself too much." "I'll try not to. I must say, you don't look much better." I looked at myself in a small hand mirror. Similar circles were beneath my eyes as well. "I booked some of your time to pre-plan for today's meeting at the Ministry of Economy." "We need to be cautious. Any grand plans about the economy also heavily influence our political standing. We will be changing our relationship with the oligarchs and the opposition. As you know, this meeting will give you the opportunity to alter the ownership of the Big Four, the largest corporations in all of Sordland. We can start the process of nationalisation or privatisation, or just keep the status quo. Can I remind you that any change will tip already fragile balance? I personally think we should stay out of this and keep things as they are. There's no need to make new political enemies at this stage in our term. The ultimate decision is yours. What are you leaning towards, and how should we move on?" Our message will avoid upsetting the economic and maintain the status quo. We will prioritise. "I have asked us why. What is your intention?" "The privatisation will bring the country out of recession." "Truth be told, I don't care what anyone thinks or says. I'll do what I believe in." Let's go with that one. "That may seem true, but taking everything out of state hands may have dire repercussions in a country like ours. We need to tread carefully. One thing to remember is that since you've transparent about promoting market economy, privatisation will not cost us too much support." Lucian took a note in his notebook. "I have received a report from the Ministry of Economy that may impact your decision. Unfortunately, we have missed our budget government targets for the current quarter. The plan to change the ownership of important assets could help us generate much needed resources to further economic development before the next election. It is something to consider, as is our relationship with the oligarchs. We need to remember that they only care about their own profits. Fortunately, we aren't got terms with them. This situation has been obstructed some of our efforts for the economic recovery. However, if we implement a privatisation plan, they will surely be delighted. Still, we need to make sure we don't go overboard with it. If we do, we might lose our base in both USB and among the people. If we privatise part of their company, perhaps we can get out of this unscratched." Could try that. That would be certainly a wise compromise. Some of my connections indicate there seems to be a contest for leadership in the Lotharbert group. It looks like Monsell Conranti is making moves to become the key figure. Conranti probably wants his father's seat at the head of the group and just doesn't want to let go of it. It's a significant battle considering these are heads of Sordland's two largest private corporations. If we over-privatise our state-owned companies as SSC and the Nedham mining group, it could result in a balance tipping to one side. Now, in previous runs, the two previous ones we've done, I've gone with Conranti there. So we might see something different. They would fight over buying the shares and cause chaos. Since they already have made decisions to privatise, you need to be decisive in your follow-up actions. Did Tusk or Marcel contact you? Yep. What did he ask for? You want to make your deal to leave Hoss untouched, and then I said to think about it. Very well. That's all he wanted. He wants me to give him shares from privatisation to low Tusk's influence, as I expected. The internal conflict amongst the oligarchs puts us in an interesting position. Our relationship with Walter Tusk hasn't been good so far. Any move we make now has to be calculated and thought through. Lisa looked at his watch. Very well, then it's almost time. I will inform Mr. Hull of your decision and we will make the necessary preparations to formulate a plan. I must get back to work now. See you at the next meeting. Thank you for your time, sir. Lucian got up from his chair and left the office. Okay. Country overview's been updated. I'll find a minute. Thordish Arcasia joint drills at Erloy Air Base. Arcasia having been granted access to Erloy Air Base, has been running joint military drills with Thordish planes. The exercise is indicative of deepening trust between our country and Arcasia following the deal. during which Arcasia also promised sort of financial, logistical and equipment support. That's good. That's really good. We're happy about that. Yep, tensions in the Murky Sea keep rising. Of course they do. Because they're arguing over that, and it's going to drag us into some silly war we don't need or can afford. Helgeland Island has been a disputed territory for many years between Agnolia and Vagsland, with Sword standing in the sidelines. Vagland's increased naval activities in the Murky Sea are heightening a standoff between the two nations, sharpening rivalry for each other. Okay, that's not going to end well for anybody, including us. We need to get allied with Lesbia and Arcasia. Because remember rightly, on this Potato Head, ISEF was in favour of that as well, which is a good thing. Right, ownership changes. Lucien and I arrived at the Ministry of Economy. Assistants took our case and showed us into a meeting where Simon, Edith, Gus and Michael were waiting. As soon as I entered, their chatter stopped. They stood up after a few pleasantries, everyone but Simon took their seat. He opened his briefcase, produced a folder and proceeded to go over some of his documents. Greetings everyone, welcome to the Ministry of Economy. Without further ado, we are here to discuss our economic shift towards privatisation. Michael and Edith exchanged smiles. Mr. President, before you arrived, Edith and Michael were expressing their delight at a decision to go down this path. Wonderful news. I'd say we're firmly on the path for a market economy. That was certainly the right decision. It will boost our economy by providing government with much needed funds right now. We can use them to increase development for the future. It's a win-win situation for sure. I'm glad we're on the same page, certainly. Seaman handed me and everyone else in the room two neat stacks of documents. Let's move on with how we go about implementing a privatisation plan. Please turn to page 6. I turn to page 6. The title is a Swordish State Corporation. As you can see the document, the first company up for discussion is the Swordish State Corporation. Blimey. The Swordish State Corporation, or SSC for short. It's been around for half a century and most recently they have been handling a wide variety of state construction projects. In their portfolio they have government buildings, various infrastructure projects, state libraries, embassies, basically anything government related. Privatising a company like this would certainly increase the government's budget. That's of course a result of lots of opportunities for us to provide for our citizens. Funds also could be used to boost our popularity, especially with the elections approaching, not to mention the various other areas in which we can and should spend money. However, there is one catch. The Conservative majority of the SPP would not like this decision at all. For them, the state companies are part and parcel of Swedish identity. If we privatise these companies entirely and sell too many shares of them, we will have consequences for us in the Assembly. What would be effects if we fully privatise the SSC? We would gain tremendous amounts of money for the government. We can invest that money in future government projects which would popularise our administration and increase the chances of re-election. That popularity might not make up for losing the lion's share of the Conservative vote. That's a good point. The Conservative comprise the majority of the Assembly. If we hurt their national pride, they'll turn on us. I'm against full privatisation. We shouldn't make many enemies at this stage. Got a point. What about selling majority share? That's a very good option. The state would keep some of the SEC's operations under control and the government would have lots of gains. I'm leaning towards this option. Retaining control while increasing our budget, I don't see a downside. Let's move on. We're going to go with the majority on that, I think. Page 26. Turn to page 26. I turn to page 26. The title is a Nedham Mining Group. Nedham Mining Group. It's one of the largest mining operations in eastern Macopia, let alone Sordland. They call themselves leaders of the world in coal. They have certainly enough evidence to back it up. Perhaps they are not as large as SSC, but they still have lots to gain if the Nedham Mining Group is privatised. I fully support privatisation of this company to any extent. Certainly a good option to gain enough capital to end recession once and for all. I have enough contacts in Nedham. It is one of the most valuable corporations of the last decade. I can vouch for that. I have personal experience with the company myself. It will be a great addition to any portfolio. What will be the effects of fully privatised? It will profitable sell. I know many people who would kill to have a portion of that company. Do you think this is a good option? I do think this is a good option. We could simply fully privatise Nedham along with necessity to bring in a large influx of money to the government, Mr. President. Hate to repeat myself, but fully privatising one state-owned company, let alone two, would anger our Conservative voter base. All the budget in the world won't matter if we are re-elected. It's got a point. What about minority? Coupled with the minority share, that is a way to go. However, it will be a lost opportunity. I think we should sell majority stake instead. Not a bad idea at all. What about selling majority share? Hang on, so what to do? Let's see about that. My preference is to sell majority share of both Nedham and SSC. If you give us most, I think we should go with this choice. This still might generate a backlash from the Assembly and the general public. We should go minority share instead. Ooh, what do we do? I'm not ready to make my decision though. Sounds good. Let's go over the document once again. I've read all of Simmons' documents once more. Flip to the last page. It's time to make some decisions. Right. If we go majority, minority state owned, minority state owned. I don't know what to do. The obvious one is to go like that, but fully privatised. Oh, let's just do it. What could possibly go wrong? Done. Yes, I signed a document altering the ownership of the big four with a flourish and Sam leaned back in his chair. So, this is the path we are taking. I want to thank you, Mr. President. This decision will vitalise our economy. I wish we could have proceeded with the privatisation in great capacity. It is a start. Certainly a step in the right direction. Partial privatisation will still deal damage to our Conservative voter base, but nothing we can't handle. I suspect that regardless, we will lose some of the support of the Conservatives in the Assembly. We are anyway with what we're doing with the Constitution, so we're going to lose them. But the gains we'll receive will upset the losses. And make sure these gains happen. As you wish, I will not leave any stone unturned. If you'll excuse me, I've got to get to work immediately. There's much to be done. Lucian packed up his bag and started making his way to the entrance. That will be all for today then. And everyone has very busy schedules. Thank you all for coming. I want to see the results as soon as possible, of course, as fast as we can. I put the documents in this case I left the room, Lucian. Okay then. Oh, look at that. Increased government budget. Things have changed. Corruption tackled. Legal behaviour has been like with tackle corruption. Look at that. Happy days. We're pursuing privatisation, which is grand. We've got increased government budget, which is fantastic. Nothing to see here or here. Nope. Okay. Results of the economic direction. The privatisation process has begun as I expected. Sordland's two most prominent oligarchs wanted to speak to me about it. Lucian showed Marcel Conronti and multitasking into the conference room. The two men sat across the table from me, leaving an empty chair in between them. Good to see you, Mr. President. It's been a while. Here, take this, a gift. He brought out a bottle of Earl Maroon, 30-year-old. I heard Peter say this was I heard Peter say that you favour this one. So it's business as always. Marcel burst out laughing. Oh man, you think so small, you lack the vision to see the bigger picture. Marcel approached me and we shook hands. It's nice to see you, Mr. President. Here, a real gift. He took out a set of car keys from his pocket and gave them to me. Come take a look. I looked out the window and when I leaned to the palace I saw glittering brand new Randolphi sports car, the car that only the richest in Sordland could afford. It's yours. I can't accept luxury car that people still go hungry. He's not bothered in the slightest. See yourself, little boy. Do you think I can't do better? Me, Walter Tusk? Whatever you want. Thank you both. Let's begin the meeting. Sounds good. Gentlemen, please take your seats. They sat down. Lucian produced a set of documents from a briefcase he put on his reading glasses. So, Mr. Tusk, Mr. Conrati, President Rayne is about to sell private shares in Sordland's two largest natural corporations, and you're here to shower him with gifts. You're both clearly more skilled at business than you are at subterfuge. Go tell him, Lucian. Tell us, why do you deserve to claim these shares before they go on the general market? Or to clear his throat. President, listen, you and I haven't been on the best of terms lately, but I want to nurture a profitable relationship between us where we both win. These shares are very important to me. If I had them, I could do much more for Sordland. There's so much more for you. We haven't even seen what I and my connections are capable of. Do you want to get re-elected? No problem. I'll make sure of it. This is my offer to you. I will do whatever it takes to make you president for another term. Does that sound great? What about you, Marcel? He can't do anything. He's not capable enough to. Mr. President asked me, not you. Before you spew out those big words, make sure you can actually do it, Walter. Mr. President, first off, Mr. Tusk is lying about the extent of his influence. True, he might have command over some people in the Assembly, but what he is sitting on top of right now was built by my father, Conrad Conronti. I want to be straightforward with you. If you give me the shares, I will topple this old man. We shall have the same influence he does over the Assembly. I can swear them as you like, but that's not all, Mr. President. Don't forget that I have something that gives me an edge over this man, and his archaic ways are powerful tool, control over the media. See, I don't think he's got as much control as he thinks, because I'm not sure ones he owns, but we don't own all of them. We can't get to basically. I can give you power of the Assembly on the Swordish public, and again, I've gone down over the back in the last couple of hours, and I don't think I've got much out of it, to be quite frank with you. Basically counted win. He could never ever hope to beat this offer. You little snake. You are 20 years early to be the head of the Lothberg group. I made this group what it is. Perhaps, but Marcel has a point. What is your decision, Mr. President? Yeah, what's it going to be? Marcel leaned forward with anticipation. The shares were equally disputed between two of you, insider trading. I'm sick of the shenanigans. You'll have to squabble over the shares when they enter the market. It's like everyone else. Just get that one. What? Haven't you heard of a word of what I've said? Yeah, you can't see a good deal I'm offering you there. I believe the President has already told you of the decision. Mr. Tusk and Mr. Conronthi are terrorists today, so I'd like to wish you a good day as well. Hope you know where the door is. If you don't, you can ask a security guard to show you out. This is not the end, President. You will hear from us again. The two men packed their belongings and left the room. Excellent. But wasn't the wisest thing to do, but screw them. Corporations. Nedham. Okay. Let's have a. I'll go with that. Let's go with that one. Police launch successful raids. So I'm just going to drink. Earlier this week, police launched raids on shops and warehouses in Avery City and Everard. Their operations are reported to have confiscated more than 2,000 illegal firearms. The captain of the police basically disarming the criminals. Okay, fine. Rayne determined to end recession. Yeah, they like it, which is grand. Nothing else to see there. Have a quick drink before I go and do anything else. Right. Recent approval rating polling conducted by the chief strategist Gallagher showed that we've landed below the 25% approval rating. Our administration performance is widely questioned by the diverse poll of over 1,000 people. Basically, nobody likes us. If there's somewhere on that one. Right. Unified Language Act. Enforce education institutions will teach all classes sector of foreign languages in the official language of the country unless there's specific. No, I'm not signing that. I'm vetoing that. nothing more than racism. I'm not saying that at all. Here we go. Assembly vote on constitutional changes. Surge was driving me towards the Grand National Assembly for today's historic vote. It was a big day. I wondered whether my attempts at changing the constitution would end any differently than Alfonso's. Looked out of the windows and the noise of the city diminished, and we saw we were already inside the palace complex. The complex housed the buildings of all the government branches in the centre of Sordland. It was the biggest development in Sordland. The Marine Palace stood on a small hilltop surrounded by trees. We passed by the palace and entered the forest that separated it from the GNA. We drove on the small road and ran through the forest. It was a warm day, so I rolled down the window. I could hear birds singing from the trees. Are you okay back there, sir? I'm okay, how are you doing? As good as I can be, sir. Surgeon made left turn out the forest and we entered the vast garden area of the assembly. Did you know that Mr. Tarkin came to Holsword this morning? I heard some politicians talk about it today. Apparently this is the first time he's come to the city in the last 5 years. I thought he'd left the mainland to live on Douro Island, never returned back to politics, but there they were saying he might be here to exercise his Member of Honour rights for the first time. That's troubling. Do you think he's here about today's vote? Of course he is. What else would he be here for? That's most likely. I'm sure he will support you, sir. We're soon enough. So Serge drove me. I'm not sure whether the horrible statement when you get to the visual like shut up, Serge drive the car type comments. I don't see what good that'll do. Serge drove inside because what's the point of being horrible to Serge? Well, driving in, we've arrived, sir. Thank you. Of course, good luck with the vote. I walked up the stone stairs of the GNA. The entrance looked like a temple gate from the classical era. The doors opened to a vast corridors of wood and white stone. I joined the crowd of people walking slowly towards the parliamentary hall. Suddenly I noticed Lucian emerged from a crowd of packed politicians who wanted to be looked relieved when he saw me. I said, there you are. Have you seen Vice President Vector? And he's nowhere to be found. I'm sure I've just arrived, Lucian. I hope Mr. Vector arrives soon too. Anyway, how about yourself? Are you ready to finally face the assembly, sir? Lucian, I've just heard something worrying from Serge. We'll address it later. Come on, we must go inside. We followed the crowd into the parliament hall. After we were inside, Lucian and I separated to take our assigned seats. I went up to the mezzanine overlooking the hall and sat down. I waited as the MPs took their places inside the hall one by one. After a while I saw Gloria walk to her elevated seat at the centre of the hall. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We will shortly begin with today's agenda of the USP's proposed changes to the Constitution of Sordland. After a while everyone was in their seats. According to the current constitution, constitutional amendments require 2/3 majority in order to reach the Assembly approval. If the vote succeeds, the proposal will be sent to the Supreme Court. The proposal in question includes these points. She started reading the proposal to the Assembly. The first section of the change, Article 57 is modified with the following. She continued to read the proposal, highlighting each section. Section 2, paragraph 36, he went on. May not exercise his right to, and on. The Justice of the Supreme Court. Most MPs seemed like they were already falling asleep. A simple majority is considered. The seat was really hurting my back. Section 4, paragraph 44A. If our concerns had passed finally, she finished reading the changes. I hereby invite you all to vote. She struck her gavel down. The loud bang made some MPs jump up in shock as they woke up from their deep sleep. As I previously stated, it will require a 2/3 majority in order to pass. You may now cast your votes. I felt the need to stand up and stretch. I looked down at the hall. I looked down at the hall from the platform I was seated on. Some Assembly members immediately walked to the ballot box to cast their votes. Most of them, however, began to congregate in the groups around the hall, discussing the changes. I expect your votes for democracy. For democracy. My voice echoed in the hall. Everyone turned and looked at me with surprise. I'm watching you. Go down to the hall where the MPs are. As soon as I reached the bottom of the hall, Casaro Cabinet approached me. Mr. President, how are you feeling about the vote? I hope you're very positive. Even though you don't have our support, how optimistic of you. I've lost my respect for you, Mr. Rayne. So many problems in Sordland that must be addressed, and you insist on stalling us with your democratic reforms. I know you will fail, you will lose again, and you will lose your entire administration. I hope to be there when it happens. Watch your words now. He laughed. He turned abruptly away from me and walked towards his seat. That's so Lisa waving at me was among a group of people in the corner of the hall, so I walked over to him. On the way I bumped into Monsoon Lek. Mr. President, I'm sorry I didn't see you there. I wish you luck with your vote. I respect your fight to abolish the member of honour position. At last, a chance to hold Tarkansas accountable for what it did to the Bloodish people. You have my support. I'd also like to see you support Bloodish rights in the future. I hope you stand by us. I will fight, no doubt about that. Yeah, what the hell? Not worry about that. I hope you stand by your wish, Mr. President. Anyway, I'll go and cast my vote. He walked over, he shook my hand and walked away. I finally reached Lisa, and by now in deep conversation with another member of our party, excused himself and turned towards me. So did you vote yet? We have to be quick. Now let's vote. Signed my vote. Prepared my envelope together. Lisa and I walked to the centre and cast our votes. He kept rushing me throughout the process. Gloria bowed her head slightly in respect as she saw us vote. Lucian pulled my arm and whispered in my ear, Mr. President, we may have a problem. Tarquin Solis here. I know. You have to accelerate the voter process. We need everybody to vote as soon as possible. We don't know what he's capable of right now, but if the Assembly members see him, he might influence them against the proposal. Should I talk to him? I'd advise against that right now. The Assembly must be focused on the vote. Any confrontation between you two of you would draw the attention away. Go and ask to speed up the voting. I can't do it, Mr. President. Don't worry, there's already a time limit and we are abiding by the rules. Assembly members are used to this process. Suddenly Lucian pulled me aside. Sir, what do we do? He pointed to the back of the assembly near one of the exits. I followed his finger to see Tarkansas sitting there. He looked much older than he had 5 years ago, but I could tell he had some same fire with him. Some MPs had gathered around him and were chattering in awe. The assembly gradually went quiet as people started to notice Sol's presence in the hallway. Leave him be. If that's what you wish. As I talked to Lucian, I spotted Casero Cabinet walking to the back of the hall towards Tarquin and Sol. He bowed his head in front of Sol and gave him a military salute. Seeing this, more people started to approach him. Suddenly Gloria came up behind us. Gentlemen, why don't you go back to your seats? Let's follow the procedure. By the way, we have 251 members today. As you can see, the member's honour is here. He's already cast his vote. Has he? Now, so Mr. How many votes are still missing? Only a few. Alvin Claver and a few other men approached us with envelopes in their hands, and these must be them. Good day to you, gentlemen, Madam Speaker. Good day, Mr. Claven. I'm sad to tell Mr. President there was a friend who needed more clarification with his vote. Gestured the men behind him. Let's get this over with, gentlemen. They went ahead and cast their votes. Let's win this, Mr. President. He walked to his seat with a fist in the air. Now, why don't you two get back to your seats as well? Very well, shall we? We both went back to our seats. When I returned back to the mezzanine, I saw Peter sitting in the chair next to mine. Where were you? I was right here. Where were you? No, you weren't. I was here until the voting began. I mean, maybe I wasn't in the exact seat, sure, but I was here in the assembly. He looked at Gloria as she and her assistants counted the votes. The speaker seats was only a few metres away from our platform. I really hope this proposal goes through. Sol is here. What? He's at the back of the hall. He's here to show everyone he's still alive. Maybe he's here to make a statement. He's at the back of the hall. yeah, I'm not going to say that, but yeah, really, my first thoughts. He tried to get Gloria's attention by waving at her. How many votes left? Gloria looked at Peter, she looked annoyed. 179, 50 more to count. Peter turned to me. What? 50 votes, and we still need 49 more. Oh, yeah. Just shut up, Peter. Peter looked uneasy. Peter pointed to where Franz Richter was sitting. Look at Franz over there. I'm sure he was behind this mess. You shouldn't have trusted him. It's not over yet. Well, a single bang from Gloria's gravel reverberated across the hall. Everyone fell silent. The voting has been concluded. I look forward to hear the results. Opposed 150 ayes, 104 nays. It didn't even reach the number of signatures that it did not even reach the number of signatures that supported it. Thereby, the Grand National Assembly has decisively rejected changes to the Constitution. The Assembly was roaring with all kinds of different reactions. I felt destroyed. I lied my head and closed my eyes for a second. This is bad. I heard Franz Richter's voice. I blame the President for this result in his party's weak attitude towards real changes doomed him from the start. It's an orthodox method of persuasion I'm sure have been experienced by most of us here. This is a corrupt administration we're dealing with. Just like his predecessors, enjoying the privilege of the presidency while ignoring the responsibility that comes with it. It's time to realise that the real change will only come from real reformist People's Freedom and Justice Party will keep leading this movement. The reformist MP started applauding him. I suddenly noticed Tarquin rise from his seat. He seemed to be struggling and used his cane for help. He stood and gazed around the hall as all of the members of the Grand National Assembly went silent. Keep watching him. He walked toward the exits. Two guards held the doors for him. What the devil do we do now? What the devil do we do now? Yeah, thank God he didn't do anything. Well, he did. He was there. So and also, we're definitely neither the party nor the public are going to be pleased. Yeah, screw Sol and the party. We're always on our own. You're right. So do you think we can survive this? If the SB abandons, we'll form a new party. He looked at me with surprise. I'll follow you in there, Anton. Both looked down at the floor for a while. After regathering our thoughts, Peter and I walked out of the assembly hall, waiting for search by the entrance. That did not go well. Assembly voted against constitutional change. Didn't even get votes. 100 people signed, so basically we lost people. We should have done something about Torpor and Sol. Okay, that's not good. Change Constitution failed. There is at least no few would like to attempt to disrupt Sol's. Yep, they're in favour of it. Okay, what do we do? So that's third run through, second fail to get it through this point. Okay. Lisa and Peter and I met in the office, decided to move out on the balcony to get some fresh air, increasing some heat. Both looked uncomfortable in their seats. Peter, trying to make eye contact, kept letting out distressing sighs. He wiped the sweat off his forehead with a handkerchief. What do we do now? All our plans for nothing. Yes, the SB leadership is beginning to target us as well. Not to mention Tarquin himself. Yeah, what the hell was all that about Sol appearing out of nowhere? He came to somebody to make a statement and it worked. And so we failed to gather the necessary intelligence about his arrival. Something went wrong on the security reports. I don't know what it was. It was partly our fault. Yes, we apologise. I learned it from saying how come my driver knew more than you. In situations as this, I would have expected Carl to report it to me, but you're right to say we should have done more of our own research. How did this stage know anyway? He said he heard some people talking about it around the Assembly. It seems some of our respected MPs already knew about this. He didn't see who they were, did he? And it doesn't matter, does it? I guess not. In any case, I will conduct a proper investigation into this. We will know every hidden old guard member who is working with Sal. Meanwhile, we'll be organising a cabinet meeting to discuss our president and future state of affairs. I'll also try to test the water with our MPs. We can't let the party slip out of our grasp. The party has to learn to respect me. Tarkasal's not their leader anymore. I want a list of every party member who voted against the proposal. So it was a secret ballot. I don't care what names. Of course I'll do what I can, don't worry. We'll address the party and I'll put them in the proper place. I think it's time to clean our little meeting, sir. Tapham, I shall leave this sooner. Join us on the balcony. Pardon in the interruption, gentlemen. Mr. President Rayne is calling that coming foreign policy meeting. Perfect timing, tell him I'll be right there. Well, sir, she turned to the balcony, then back to us. My condolences on the vote result, Mr. Rayne. Peter. She looked at Peter in the eye as she said this, ignored Lucian altogether. Peter's eyes followed her as she walked out. Getting pretty out here. Okay, let's call it finished. You may both go. Alright, gentlemen, see you later. They both left. That is a big blow. That is a very big blow. So we've got 2 major meetings to do. Right. You are foreign policy. That's a whistleblower. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it just there. A bit shorter than normal, but yeah, I'm not sure whether I should leave it just here or not. Let's look at this one first. Whistleblower from Work Security Bureau's escaped to Sordland, crossing the border and turned himself over authorities as restored. Agent Charleston Hellstone has promised to reveal extremely sensitive information about the developments of weapons program. Yeah, grant him asylum. So we've got him a safe house. Indecious large group of party members voiced their disapproval in the failed constitution of the Assembly. Yep. Okay, they're all criticising me, which is not a massive surprise, is it really? Geopolitics. Yep, more about the whistleblower. Invitation to the cinema. Right, I'm going to leave this. I think we'll leave this there. We need to think about what to do next. Yeah, a bit shorter than normal, but after that devastating loss of the Assembly vote, we need to think about what we're going to do going forward. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little adventure in Suzerain, and let me know what you think. Let me know if any of you guys have played, anybody's played through to put the point and obviously lost the constitutional, what they've done next and how they've handled losing the vote, because at the moment we're going downhill rapidly. So anyway, let me know what you think. Let me know how you guys have been getting on the playthroughs, anything differently. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of YouTubers doing dictatorial playthroughs. I'd love to know how they've done it. I'd love to know, 'cause I tend to avoid watching those because I don't want to give spoilers for myself if watching somebody do a playthrough and they go a route I don't know. It ruins the surprise for me if I do it myself. But anyway, thanks very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Alright, thanks, bye.